Hey everybody, Mike Rowe 31 back here for FSi DFS. We have a massive 13 game slate here for Friday, the 22nd, Earth Day. And I could go game by game here and go over all the options and just completely blow your mind. But I've just really worked to narrow this down. So we're just going to quickly go through this here. I think there's a lot of pitching options, but some of them are completely overpriced. So let's just narrow it down to about like 9 guys here. Get you on your way, get you some bats that are in good situations with such a large slate. I mean, there's many good options for you, but I'll just give you some of my favorite ones. And I like in the lineup build section at the end of this video, like what's coming together tonight. I think it's going to be a really good situation with pricing. So looking at pitching, Justin Verlander is the most expensive one. I'm fine. He's up against Toronto. Maybe Springer's back in the lineup. They have been banged up a little bit. Hernandez is still out there. Some of the guys towards the bottom are more of a strikeout risk than they have been in the past. So I like him, but I don't know if I want to pay up for him as my SP1. Kluber comes in at second at 9.6. Again, Tampa Bay against Boston. This could be a very sneaky spot for him. I think more of a GPP. I don't know if he won my primary. Boston did struggle today against Toronto pitching. We don't know. JD Martinez is going to be out of the lineup. They just haven't looked right recently. So, and it is in Tampa Bay, I believe. So, I mean, that's a better pitcher park than having the game in Boston. So, I mean, that bodes kind of well there. 9.6 is a little steep for a guy that's kind of on the downside of his career. He's not like the stud he used to be, but still he's not completely fallen off like Zach Greinke. So I think he's viable there. Chris Wright was the third highest price pitcher. I think he's going to be my favorite one here against Miami in Atlanta. I think he's really good to start the season up against the Marlins, and just sign me up for him. He's the one I want as my SP1. David Peterson, it's just a decent matchup against Arizona. Arizona does have some power righties against him. He's a lefty. I think he's a little bit too expensive there. Barry Ober, not against the White Sox, too expensive there. Kopech comes in. I think he's going to be one of my favorite mid-range ones. Actually, sorry, I forgot Urias. Urias is the second highest pitcher on a DK there. Against the Padres, again, I think you can try him. I think he's a really talented guy, but then again, he is kind of younger. How long of a leash does he have? San Diego, it's in San Diego, so it should be a good pitching environment there. They have good bullpen behind him. San Diego did heat up a little bit. They're starting to fade a little bit now, so I think but I would rather play right and save over $1,000 and put that towards bats. Kopech, I think, is one of the best pitchers on the against Minnesota here. Lots of strikeouts in this lineup. Especially not as powerful. Buxton's still not out of there. I think they're great to play some cheap Minnesota bats the last couple of days in their matchups, but I don't think this is one. A little bit of a rain risk there, so just make sure that game's gonna play. Keller would be next up. Seattle doesn't have the pop to start the lineup that they got some really good pieces from Cincinnati and some really young guys. I think they're going to come together. I think as temperatures heat up, they'll be fine. But right now, I think you definitely can pick on them. So Keller, I think, is definitely in play. Tyon against Cleveland again. Cleveland can put up a lot of runs on as Kluber, or not Kluber, Keuchel. You saw that, but this is a Yankee Stadium, so I think, and Tyon, the Yankees invested a lot to get him, so I think that he definitely is one that could do well there. And Detmers, he could probably give up some runs against this Baltimore lineup, but I think there's a lot of strikeouts there, and he's a good strikeout pitcher, so I think he's my favorite one rounding off the medium range. Lower priced Flexen, he gets Kansas City, and Kansas City has just been, again, so disappointed for them to start the season. Again, it's early. We're just into week 3 right now, so a lot of baseball still to play, and they could come around. Wood could be better, and some of these guys, but right now I think Flexen is not a huge K guy, but I think he can get enough points at his price tag. I believe he's only 6K. So I think he's definitely one to take. Galen against the Mets, a little bit risky there, but I think he's cheap. Corbin can get some strikeouts. His matchup also. Not really interested in BD for San Francisco, Otto, Morgan, or Ola. They're just completely fading those guys. So looking at hitting, Atlanta's got to be the top stack today. And they're so cheap. Like the pricing on them is so off. I don't know what's going on. They're up against Trevor Rogers, who's a decent young pitcher, but he's better at Miami in a pitcher's park, not at Atlanta. But looking at some of these prices here, there's only 3K. Duvall, who's really good against left-handed pitching, is only 2.4. Even like Albies at like 4.6. Might skip over Olsen, the lefty on lefty match. I'm not too crazy about that, but if you're making a stack and Rogers and might not go super deep into the game, so I'm sure there's some righties in the Miami bullpen that's not the greatest in the world, so definitely playable there. Riley's questionable because he just had a kid, but I love that baby bump, usually a first game back there, so if he's in, sign me up for him too. New York, I think he'll go back so well there. I think people will be off them, but I like the matchup at the Yankee Stadium. Wind blown out to left field there against Eli Morgan. Houston, I think they come up against Ross Stripling from Toronto, who's not a good pitcher. I know there's no Altuve in the lineup, so there's some cheaper pieces, but Penner's not bad leading off, or they could throw some other guys up there. He's kind of a reverse switch guy, so even the righties against him are a good matchup. Plus the lefties, Alvarez can hit, and Tucker usually can hit anybody. So like them there. And then Dodgers are just always solid. They go to San Diego, so it's kind of a downgrade from ballpark, but still, I've been absolutely loving the bottom of this lineup, and these guys have been doing so well. Actually, Bellinger seems to be finding his form from a couple of years ago. He's hitting for some power and doing really well. Gavin Lux, I love him like on the wraparound there. I don't think there's a guy in the Dodgers lineup that I do not like on any given day, and especially it's good building your stack with some of the cheaper pieces, and it's been very beneficial. So some of the GPP plays, I like the White Sox. I think, again, there's rain risk there, but they're up against Bailey Olber, and I think that is a really good matchup for them. So I like that. Bruce Zimmerman's a lefty. The Angels have a lot of power righties. The Trout should be back in the lineup. Rendon, Ward, Mayfield's been doing well. Stassi is a catcher. Adele. Duffy hits really well against left-handed, and he's always pretty cheap too. He's 3.5, so that's a little bit more than he has been, but sometimes they raise him up into the lineup when he is up against the lefty, so that's something to watch there. Also, I said the Mets in Arizona against Galen. He's a good cheap pitcher. I think, as a GPP stack, they can get to him. And Colorado, who's been putting up some runs this year, not just in course, a little bit of rain risk in there, but they're up against the lefty in school ball. So kind of like the righties there, Brian and Cron and Joe and Diaz. So that could be a sneaky snack there. Cheap ones, Texas, I think, has a really, really good matchup today against Adam Euler. Really like them there. Very, very affordable. Oakland on the other side, the same thing. Neither one of the pitchers in that game are great. It's going to be 68 degrees, no rain finally in Oakland, a decent day to play some baseball, or evening actually for them. Arizona against Peterson, I think, like I said, they've got some really good right-handed power. So some one-offs there. Christian Walker, Seth Beer. Kalen Marte has been horrible to start the season, but maybe he gets it right here. Hummel's let off and hit a home run yesterday, and he was really, really cheap. He's up to 3-1 now. And then Baltimore, I think, potentially too, has some cheap pieces against Ross Detmer, who can get some strikeouts, but can also give up some runs. Leverage ones, of course, Toronto against Verlander, depending on how strong their lineup is. Cleveland against Tylone. KC against Flexen, and then San Diego against Urias are GPP leverage stacks. So let's look at some builds and then get you on the way for your weekend here. So like I said, I like Chris Wright, and then I love Atlanta here, pairing him with him. Darno, 2-2 for a catcher, has a really solid season so far. I know I put him on the cover last time and he didn't play, so hopefully he's in today, but really like him there. Elby's, I think, has got good power, good candidate to hit a home run. Duvall Alcuna, very underpriced there, and Riley with the baby bump. But this leaves you 62.5. I mean, you can get Verlander in there, you can get Kopech in there, and you can, I think even Kopech in there, like a mid-range guy, still gives you like high 5Ks. Like, I mean, you can like throw the Dodgers in here. Actually, sorry, Riley's at third base, so we'll change that for you. Don't want to confuse you. But and take him out there, Turner in there. You can get Dodger stack in there. You can get Yankee stack in there. Houston doesn't work great because they have a lot of outfielders that you want, but like Colorado would work in there. Just punch shortstop. So a lot of ways to play there. And then for the GPP one, I think I could use Flexen as a pitcher. Just from savings, just Kansas City has not really been good this year. And then Texas is my favorite stack here. Garver, we'll go down to Himes. He bats at the bottom. He's a switch hitter. He's decent. So if you don't want to play all the way from Garver, then you just do a wraparound stack. Low, Semion's the only one that's really, I think, a 5K guy. The rest of them are 4 and 3K. Seager, Miller, third, or base or outfield. If you put him at third base, and like I said, Houston works well here because then you can get like 3 outfielders in there, or play like Bregman and 2 outfielders. Maybe substitute one of these guys out. So some nice little lineups. So hopefully that helped you on this massive 13 game slate. If you want more information about FSi DFS, go to our description. All the information is there in our bio about how to go to our website, join our Discord, all those things. If you have any questions, from the comments below, or reach out to me on Twitter at Megruler31, and we're here to help. So good luck in your contents tonight, and we'll see you next time.